it's 51% in our churches. So we want to say that in our society right now, it's 51, more than half of our marriages end in divorce. It's not been, hey, the world is seeing us. We're not making any difference. 300%. Since then, unmarried people living together is 353% increase. Since then, violent crime has increased some 544%. As a society, you and I, in our society, has taken our eyes off of Jesus. We are sinking as a society. Edmund Burke said this. Edmund Burke said that all that is required for evil to prevail is for good men to do nothing. And it is time. And I've got me a nickname. I do. I have a nickname for Christians that are in this situation. I call them ostrich Christians. They stick their head in the sand. We have stuck our head in the sand while all of this stuff is going on around us. We are sinking as a society. And you know why we're sinking as a society? We have taken our eyes off of Jesus. Taken it off of Jesus. Number two, not only are we sinking as a society, but you know what? We're sinking in our service. In our service. Now, some of you may be thinking, well, you're talking about the armed forces. No, I'm not talking about the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marines, the Coast Guard. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about our churches. You know what? I never have. I've never served on committees. It's funny. I never have served on a committee, and except for a youth pastor search committee one time here at the church, but I've never served on a committee, and especially one of these committees. This committee right here. Everybody says that if you want to stay away from a committee, stay away from the nominating committee, and I never really understood why until I became a pastor, and. We just went through this. It was our new church here, and we just went through this. If you've ever served on a nominating committee, you will know how hard it is to try to get people to work in the church. You know, I heard somebody tell me, and David, this has got kind of our slogan. I think when I pass away, this is going to be on our tombstone somewhere. Somebody told me one time, said, Brother Jason, do you believe you have to work for your salvation? I do not believe that, folks. I believe because you're saved, you'll want to work. That's what I believe. I've always believed that. But you know what? In our society, man, we are sinking in our service. Let me tell you why. Do you realize that right now, do you know what the number one target of the Mormon church is? Southern Baptist churches. Southern Baptist people. In 1982, there were more converts from the Southern Baptist Church to the Mormon Church than any other convert. Why? Because you and I, as Southern Baptists, are not doing the job. We're not getting it done. Why? Because we've taken our eyes off Jesus. Folks, when programs are more important than people, we're sinking. We have to realize that people are the most important thing. We see programs and we go, you know what? We need to do this and we need to do that and we need to have this kind of program at the church. We need to have all of this and we need to have all of that, and we're forgetting that there are people that are lost and dying and going to hell. Folks, it is our job as Christians to spread the word. Jesus said to go into all the world. You know who he was talking to? Folks, he was not talking to the people at Sammy's Go-Go. He was not talking about the people at the bar that's going to be drinking and drunk tonight. He's talking about the church. You and I are the church. We want to look at it and go, you know what? I think I'll just send some money for a missionary overseas. That's their job. Or, you know, I'll tell you this. Try to do a visitation program. Not at Mineral Springs, but I tried to do a visitation program. And we went through a month study. People were kind of excited about it. We had our first meeting. We had 28 people there. Wow. Oh, man, I could have, if the Lord would have come back right then, I'd have been happy. Oh, that was wonderful. Church our size, have 28 people there. Wow. Next meeting, we went out and went out and did some visiting, did some phone calls. Next meeting, we had 10. Wasn't as good as the last one, but it's all right. Next meeting, we had 5. In the last and final meeting, we had two, me and my wife. But I was glad she came. We got in the car and went home, and I said, that's it. Wednesday night, I stood up and I said, you know what? I said, we had two folks here for visitation. Everybody's looking around. I said, yes, it was me and my lovely wife. And I said, what's going on? And the lady in the back of the room, and I kid you not, this was on a Wednesday night prayer meeting, stood up, she raised her hand, and she said, I don't understand why you are challenging us and wanting us to go visit. That's what we pay you to do. You know what? You might not say it, but deep down in our heart, we're thinking it. That's why we pay the pastor to go knock on doors, to go hospital visitation. Hey, me, I'm not going to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ. I'm not going to share my faith. That's Brother Ed's job. That's Brother Lloyd's job. No, it's not. It's your job. It is my job. As a Christian, we are not asked to do it. We are not suggested to do it. We are commanded to do it. The Great Commission is now in our Southern Baptist churches the Great Omission. We have omitted that, and we've looked at it and said, you know what? It's just a suggestion. Folks, let me tell you, we're sinking in our service. Why are our churches, and I'm not talking just about Fairfield Highlands, I'm talking about Mineral Springs, I'm talking about churches all over the nation. Why are they not full to capacity every Sunday morning? You want to know why? Go look in the mirror. Go look in the mirror. And I'm going to tell you that, because let me tell you this. When the world outside sees the church inside and they don't see any difference, then why do they want to come? Why do they want to come? Hey, I've heard people say, well, I'm not going to that church. Last time I went to that church, I had a business meeting. And I said, so what about a business meeting? Thank God, thank God, thank God I have not had a bad business meeting. I have not had one yet. Me and David are shocked. You know what? I go to seminary and I tell them, I say, well, I got a deacon's meeting tonight. And every one of those pastors go, oh no. Well, we'll be praying for you, brother. We'll be praying for you. I look forward to my deacon's meetings. Let me tell you why, because I love those meetings. We have the best time in the world. I look forward to deacon's meetings. I remember my first deacon's meeting, Tracy, she said, what are you worried about? I said, we got a deacon's meeting. I have heard horror stories of deacon's meetings. They're awful. You know, them demon meetings. Now, I heard the old, you've heard the old joke. You know why preachers' kids are so bad? Because they hang out with deacons' kids. You know, that's the, you hear that. Man, I love deacons' meetings. But you know what I hear people say all the time? I went to a business meeting, and it became a brawl. When people on the outside of our churches see that you and I can't get along inside, why do they want to come and be a part of that? I'm going to tell you something. Our churches need to be different. The Bible says that we need to be a light in a dark world. We don't need to be dark in a dark world. We need to be light in a dark world. We're sinking in our service. And number 3, I want you to see this. We're sinking spiritually. We're sinking spiritually. You see, Peter took his eyes off Jesus. And when he took his eyes off Jesus, listen to what Jesus said to him. Look at what Jesus said to him. He didn't say, oh, Peter. No. He didn't put his arm around him and go, oh, bless your heart, Peter. I want you to see, and I don't want you to overlook this. Circle it, highlight it, put a star beside it. I want you to see this. Look in your Bible and look and see this. Oh, you of little faith, why did you doubt? The reason Peter sank was he took his eyes off Jesus, and it was a spiritual problem. We need to see that the things that are wrong in our society, folks, don't get me wrong, but I hope you didn't elect a president or a vice president or a governor that's going to correct our problems. It is not going to correct our problems. We have a spiritual problem. And Jesus said, you of little what? Faith. His faith in Jesus wasn't where it needed to be. My question to you, is your faith where it needs to be? I'm telling you, as I was sitting studying this last night, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for allowing me the opportunity to come and have revival services, because I'm going to tell you one thing. Through these messages, the Lord has revived me. Thank you. Thank you. Not because I'm such a good preacher. I preach good to myself and I revive myself. It's because we serve a God that's awesome, man. As I was sitting there reading this last night, I thought, man, Peter had a spiritual problem. And his spiritual problem was a lack of faith. But here's the prescription. How many of you take prescriptions? Raise your hand if you take any kind of medicine at all. Raise your hand. Tomorrow's message is online. Some of you didn't raise your hand, and I know what you're going to do tonight. You've got one of them Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Fridays. And let me tell you this. Some of you have got those, but you don't close them because there's so many pills you can't get it closed. Tell me you don't take medicine. Here's a prescription that God gives for sinking. Listen. As he was sinking, verse number 30 is the prescription. I want to give you a prayer that God will always answer. You ready for it? Get your pens ready. Here it is. Here is a prayer that is guaranteed every time you pray that prayer, God will answer it. You ready for it? Help! That's it. Listen to what Peter did. Lord, save me. And Jesus what? Bent down his hand and he lifted him up and he saved him. What is the prescription for sinking as a society? For sinking spiritually? For sinking in our service? What is the prescription for revival? Lord, come. Lord, I want you. Lord, save me. You know what Peter is saying here? Peter is saying, Lord, in that word right there, Peter is saying, God, I've taken my eyes off you. Lord, I'm sorry I've taken my eyes off you. Lord, I'm sorry I've done this, and I'm sorry I've done... All of that was right there in that little word, that little phrase, save me. Now, you may be here tonight, and you've been saved for so many years you can't even count. You made a profession of faith. I remember about midways back right here, I made mine right there. During Vacation Bible School, right there. I made my profession of faith in this church. I did. I don't remember how old I was. I don't remember how many years ago it was. But some of you, man, you don't remember. Abe Lincoln was president when some of you got saved. I mean, you can't remember. It's been so long ago. But you know what? We can still cry, Lord, save me. Pick me up out of that junk. Pick me up out of that wave where I'm sinking. I want you to bow your head tonight. Nobody looking around. Nobody focused on anything else. And I know, hey, I told my wife I was going to be short tonight. And she said, you're not right. You won't do it. And I'm not. Hey, this revival. Don't be thinking about the Late Show, the news, Andy Griffith Show. Here's what I want you to be thinking about right now. We know we're sinking as a society. And I'm going to tell you the problem is us. Number two, we are sinking in our service at the church. Hey, do not say that you're too old. Do not say that you're